Is idolatry a sin? Perspectives from Islam and Christianity. Idolatry, often understood as the worship of physical objects or representations in place of the divine, is a significant concept in both Islam and Christianity. Both faiths, stemming from the Abrahamic tradition, vehemently oppose idolatry, yet their interpretations and approaches to the issue reflect unique theological and historical contexts. Let's explore the perspectives of Islam and Christianity on idolatry, highlighting commonalities and key differences. Islam's view on idolatry. In Islam, idolatry, or shirk, is considered the gravest sin. The Quran explicitly warns against associating partners with Allah, emphasizing His oneness, Tawheed. For example, the Quran states, "Indeed, Allah does not forgive association with Him, but He forgives what is less than that for whom He wills. And he who associates others with Allah has certainly gone far astray." Quran 4-116, Muslims believe that idolatry represents a profound deviation from the worship of the one true God. This includes not only the worship of statues or images but also placing anything or anyone on the same level as Allah, such as wealth, power, or false deities. The rejection of idolatry is so central to Islamic teachings that the Prophet Muhammad's mission in Mecca included the destruction of idols in the Kaaba, which had been desecrated by polytheists before the advent of Islam. Islam also extends the concept of idolatry to include the use of images in worship. Representational art is generally discouraged in Islamic tradition, particularly when it depicts God, prophets, or other religious figures. This prohibition stems from a fear that such representations could lead to idolatry, even unintentionally, by shifting focus away from Allah. Christianity's view on idolatry. Christianity also condemns idolatry, as reflected in the Ten Commandments. "You shall not make for yourself a carved image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is on the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down to them or serve them." Exodus chapter 20 verse 4-5. Like Islam, Christianity teaches that worship is due to God alone. Idolatry, in the Christian context, is often understood as not only the worship of physical idols but also as prioritizing anything above God, such as material possessions or personal ambitions. However, within Christianity, practices and attitudes toward religious images vary widely. For example, in Roman Catholicism and Eastern Orthodoxy, the use of icons, statues, and other religious art is seen not as idolatry but as tools for veneration and spiritual reflection. These traditions argue that such objects are not worshipped but serve as aids in focusing devotion on God and the saints. Iconoclast controversies in Christian history, such as those during the Byzantine Empire, reflect internal debates about the proper use of images in worship. On the other hand, many Protestant traditions, influenced by the Reformation, reject the use of religious images altogether, emphasizing a strict adherence to the biblical prohibition against idolatry. For Protestants, the concern lies in ensuring that worship remains directed solely to God without intermediaries or distractions. Common ground and divergence. Both Islam and Christianity emphasize the sinfulness of idolatry, viewing it as a fundamental betrayal of God's sovereignty. They share the conviction that God's majesty and transcendence cannot be reduced to physical representations. Yet, their theological frameworks lead to distinct practices. Islam adopts a more absolute stance, forbidding all forms of religious imagery to safeguard against idolatry. Christianity, by contrast, allows for a spectrum of practices, ranging from iconoclastic traditions to the veneration of sacred art. Conclusion. In both Islam and Christianity, idolatry is unequivocally regarded as a sin because it misdirects the devotion and reverence owed solely to God. While Islam enforces a strict prohibition on all forms of imagery to prevent idolatry, Christianity offers a more nuanced approach, with practices varying among its denominations. These perspectives underscore the profound commitment of both religions to uphold the worship of God in spirit and truth, even as they navigate the complexities of human devotion. Ultimately, the shared rejection of idolatry reflects a common dedication to the sanctity of monotheistic worship.